my top 5 craziest Bojack Horseman theories. Now the last one is my favourite, so be sure to stick around till the end of the video. First of all, let's talk about Vincent. This is Princess Carolyn's boyfriend, or as Bojack refers to him, 3 young boys in a trench coat. So the general consensus is that Vincent represents Princess Carolyn's inability to see what is right in front of her.
You know, it's funny. When you look at someone through rose-colored glasses, all the red flags just look like flags.
This is why she stayed so long with Bojack. She will overlook all the red flags. However, my theory is that Vincent really was an adult man. The whole show, after all, is told from Bojack's perspective, and especially in the earlier seasons, he really struggled to see Princess Carolyn happy with someone else.
And maybe I am a little jealous. Not because I actually want to date Princess Carolyn anymore, but just because I don't like the idea that I can't.
Think about it, nobody else is suspicious of Vincent.
Okay, here we go.
I love you.
What? All right! You're a better man than I could ever be!
I wish my boyfriend was that mature!
Why is it that Bojack is the only one questioning Vincent's true identity? Here we can see just how adamant Bojack is that he is right. Delusional self-belief is a common trait in narcissists. Okay, moving on to theory number 2. When Herb gets cancer, then he goes into remission, he then dies of a peanut allergy.
Bojack! I have cancer. Please come in. You're letting out all the cancer.
But perhaps he didn't die at all. I like to think that Herb got over his illness and then he moved far away from Hollywood to live out the rest of his days happily and peacefully. Other people speculate whether Herb did actually die of cancer, but he wanted to go out with a final triumph, so he lied in the tweet about the peanuts while he was on his deathbed.
Let us now read his final tweets. I'm gonna live forever. Hashtag cancer-free. Hashtag invincible. Hashtag tweeting while driving. Oh no, I think I'm gonna hit that truck. Hashtag hopefully it isn't full of peanuts. Hashtag oh no, it was full of peanuts.
Okay, this next one took me so long to realise. When Beatrice hallucinates Henrietta and her face is all scribbled up, it's because Beatrice actually went through the family photo album all those years ago and physically scribbled out her face in all the pictures. She was so desperate to forget to cover up the affair, but ironically, Henrietta is the only one she consistently remembers.
You're fired, of course.
I'm so sorry, Mrs. Horseman. He was just so kind to me and I felt so...
Let me guess. He said you reminded him of his dead mother. We'll pay for your tuition.
Really?
Yes. And you'll give the baby up for adoption.
Number 4. Mr. Peanutbutter is so much smarter than he's pretending to be. We see this on the game show episode.
No. Let's get into things. Let's get real. Everybody, Bojack wants to get real.
I'm not sure where you're going.
Oh, no? Because you sure knew where you were going with my wife that time you pulled over by the side of the road.
No! Yes! Wait, so you've known all this time?
What was his motive for playing dumb? Did he want to provoke guilt? To have the moral upper hand? Think back through all the times Mr. Peanutbutter deliberately made things uncomfortable, particularly for Bojack, who is technically his rival. There are actually a lot of similarities between Bojack and Mr. Peanutbutter, from their age and their careers, to their attraction to younger women.
Why do all these idealistic, vivacious women eventually turn bitter and cruel after being with me? What's the common denominator?
While Bojack's upfront about his feelings, Mr. Peanutbutter comes off as a clueless, unthreatening Labrador, which all the while makes him more dangerous. There is definitely a sense of Mr. Peanutbutter knowing a lot more than he lets on. And finally, we come to my favourite, theory number 5. Butterscotch Horseman never really died in a duel. So after reading the books and all these terrible reviews, this completely destroyed his ego, so he killed himself. And then Beatrice covered it up with a story about him tripping and falling on a rock.
My dad died about 10 years ago of injuries he sustained during a duel. When your father dies, you ask yourself a lot of questions. Questions like, wait, did you say he died in a duel? And who dies in a duel? They met at Golden Gate Park and agreed 10 paces, then shoot. But in the middle of the 10 paces, Dad turned to ask the guy if he'd actually read the book and what he thought. But not looking where he was going, tripped over an exposed root and bashed his head on a rock.
It always did seem very out of character for him. The worst part is, I think that Bojack subconsciously knew this, which is why, in the view from halfway down, his father comes to him in the form of Secretariat.
You were the fastest runner in the world. You inspired millions. And yet, here I am, Same as you. I know this part is confusing because I'm Secretariat and also your dad for some reason, but speaking as your dad, it's important that you know that I cared. No, you never cared. You cared about your book. You cared about getting drunk and telling everyone how miserable you were, but that's not caring. It's a shame that we could never talk like this in real life.
And who was Secretariat? Another overly ambitious and deeply unhappy character who also happened to be a horse, and he committed suicide. So maybe Bojack thought this was his fate. If his role model and his own flesh and blood couldn't handle facing themselves, how could he?